Valley's leading news program with meteorologist Adam Joseph, Deuces Rogers, Shari Williams, and Brian Taff.
So Tom Mesereau, you tried, you failed, the personal attacks did not work. Bill Cosby, 3 words for you: guilty, guilty, guilty.
Thursday night, and the big story on Action News tonight is victory for a victim of sexual assault and the astonishing collapse of Bill Cosby.
Cosby's image as a wholesome sitcom dad has been tarnished, if not destroyed, forever. The jury of 7 men and 5 women reaching that unanimous decision today. The comedian found guilty of drugging and sexually assaulting a woman at his Elkins Park home nearly 14 years ago.
This was Cosby's 2nd time on trial after the initial trial ended with a deadlocked jury last June. Today, he was convicted of assaulting Andrea Constand, a former Temple University employee. When the verdict was read, Cosby hung his head, later lashing out and cursing when the district attorney tried to have him sent straight to jail and have his bail revoked. Cosby's legal team says this is not the end.
We are very disappointed by the verdict. We don't think Mr. Cosby is guilty of anything, and the fight is not over.
What was revealed through this investigation was a man who had spent decades preying on women that he drugged and sexually assaulted, and a man who had evaded this moment here today for far too long.
Now, Cosby's other accusers who were in the courtroom today burst into tears of joy after that verdict was read. Cosby now faces up to 30 years in prison, what could be a life sentence for that now 80-year-old comedian.
We have live team coverage tonight. Action News reporter Dan Cuellar has reaction from today's events.
But first, we begin with Action News reporter Christy Aledo with more now from the other alleged accusers tonight. Christy.
Brian, Shari, these women are saying this is not just a win for Andrea Constand, but for all victims. They all have very similar stories of being drugged and sexually assaulted by the same man. Many of them felt no one believed their stories until now. Emotions were raw as Bill Cosby's accusers sobbed for joy outside courtroom A that the man they alleged drugged and raped them, just like he did chief accuser Andrea Constand, had finally gotten what he deserved.
And this is a victory not just for Andrea Constand. It is not just a victory for the Commonwealth. It is not just a victory for the 62 of us publicly known Cosby survivors.
More than 60 women have accused the once famed comedian of sexual misconduct. Many felt their stories were discarded after coming forward until the retrial.
We are so happy that finally we can say women are believed, and not only on #MeToo, but in a court of law.
With Bill Cosby's attorney doing a lot of victim blaming in his closing remarks. And so that kind of answers the question of why people wait so long to come out and tell their story.
Monique Howard is with Women Organized Against Rape and says the verdict and the growing Me Too movement will propel more victims to speak up. Actress Rose McGowan, who accused Harvey Weinstein of assault, celebrated the verdict on Twitter, saying his victims can exhale. Thank you, judge and jury.
We are vindicated, we are validated, and we are now part of the tsunami of women's power and justice. We are not shutting up, and we're not going away.
Now, not only did this verdict come against the backdrop of the Me Too movement, but April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. The irony. Live in Norristown, Christy Aledo for Action News at 10 on PHL 17. Brian, Shari.
Okay, Christy, thank you. Our coverage continues now with Action News reporter Dan Cuellar.
He is also at the courthouse in Norristown tonight with more of the emotional reaction to that verdict today. Dan.
Brian, Shari, for some fans of Bill Cosby who have followed his career for many, many years, and the fact that he's from Philadelphia, this is very tough.
I like Billy from Philly. I don't think he did it. He's a good bull.
You got murderers out here they can't even catch.
The crowds converged outside the courthouse as word of the verdict spread.
My first reaction was, thank God. because justice has been served. The jury listened to both sides. They were not biased.
For those supporting the accusers, it was as if an entire bottle of emotion had been unleashed that was hard to define.
I would say a combination of shock and disbelief and joy and hope and elation. So many emotions, I don't even know what I'm feeling.
For some supporters of Bill Cosby who have followed his career, this was also a tough one to define.
It's just tough all the way around. Yeah. You know, you just see America's died, and then you see all those heartbreaking women in there. It's just bad.
Man, they should leave Bill alone. That's all.
Yeah.
He old, man.
Sorry for Bill and his whole situation, his daughter, his aging, and all of that. So it's unfortunate if it's not true.
Free Bill! Free Bill! That happened so long ago. Free Bill, he's 80-something years old. Yeah. Do it another way.
They're trying to have an O.J. Simpson 2.0, in my opinion, honestly.
And then there are some who see this as a defining moment in the Me Too movement.
This is the turning point because now more people will come forward and think maybe somebody will actually believe me and maybe justice will finally be served.
And there was a lot more, but I think that captures the essence of what we saw and heard here today in Norristown. Live at the Montgomery County Courthouse, I'm Dan Quayle, Action News at 10.
Yeah, it has so many people's attention. Dan, thanks. Let's get more perspective now. We're going to bring in legal analyst Brendan Campbell, a criminal defense attorney in Montgomery County, also a former assistant DA in Montgomery County. Thanks for joining us tonight here at our studios. And Brendan, this was the second time around for prosecutors making their case against Cosby. So what made the difference this time?
Well, one of the things, the judge allowed in a lot more evidence for both sides, both the prosecution and the defense. And for the prosecution, that meant the testimony of 5 additional witnesses/victims who testified to very similar assaults, very similar modus operandi of how the contact they had with Mr. Cosby, which was similar to the victim in this case. Additionally, they allowed in evidence of a settlement of $3.4 million that Mr. Cosby gave to the victim here, which I believe was also important in that who pays out $3.4 million if they didn't do something wrong?
Yeah.
And I think that was in the minds of the jurors.
Brendan, let's talk about the road ahead. I think a lot of people were stunned today to watch Bill Cosby walk out of that courthouse and no doubt into his mansion in Montgomery County where he's spending this night. Still ahead of sentencing, no doubt in appeal. His lawyers have already said that. When, if ever, might Bill Cosby see the inside of a jail cell?
Well, I think the defense's #1 goal is he never does. Sentencing will probably be typically 90 days out from now, 3 months, but that could get pushed back as well. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets continued. And then once he is sentenced, then he's looking at, anywhere between 22 and 36 months. Once that happens, the next goal is to keep him out pending appeal. So that's going to be a decision the judge is going to have to make. And then if that is done, there'll be multiple appeals down the line. You name it. Any sort of pretrial ruling that was made, whether it's the introduction of his civil testimony or allowing those 5 prior victims to testify, everything will be appealed and drawn out.
We saw the onslaught from Bill Cosby and his attorneys throughout this process. So no doubt, as you point out, Brendan, more likely to come in the courtroom from Cosby. Okay, Brendan Campbell, legal analyst, joining us tonight. Thank you for your perspective as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Brendan. All right, Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf is applauding the efforts of Montgomery County DA Kevin Steele in getting Cosby's conviction. He released a statement today saying, in part, quote, "To use any level of celebrity and power to prey on women is unforgivable and deplorable. I hope the verdict provides some level of comfort to the victims of sexual assault across Pennsylvania and, for that matter, across the country."
Well, Temple University severed ties with Cosby after he was charged, and tonight the university is considering whether to rescind his honorary degree. It's widely known that in years past, Cosby has been one of the his alma mater's biggest supporters, as well as a member of the Board of Trustees. In a statement, the university says it respects today's decision and said, quote, "provides additional facts for the university to consider with respect to Bill Cosby's honorary degree." Well, Bounce TV has dropped The Cosby Show reruns from its lineup after today's guilty verdicts. The network once was airing the reruns of Cosby's CBS show, Cosby, but stopped in 2015 after court documents reveal that Cosby admitted to drugging women with the intent to have sex with them. The Cosby Show still streams on Amazon.
And of course, our coverage of the Cosby verdict continues on the 6 ABC app tonight with videos and much more from all of today's stunning developments, plus a comprehensive timeline of the case against Bill Cosby.
The AccuWeather now. Sunshine and spring-like temperatures were in full control today. It's a nice clear night, but clouds will begin to roll in while many of us are sleeping, making way for a rainy Friday. Meteorologist Adam Joseph here now at the Action News Big Board with the AccuWeather details tonight. Hi, Adam.
We're near the end of that sunny sandwich. We had kind of the sunshine today. On either side of it, rain yesterday and tomorrow. High temps 66 today. It was pleasant, a little breezy at times, especially on the front end of the day. 73 Washington, 74 in Richmond, but notice the cool air. Buffalo, Syracuse in the 40s and 50s, and some of that cooler air will be draining in with the system coming in from the south, kind of bringing a northerly wind here. In fact, you can see the rain down to the south. It's broken into a bunch of different pieces here, but there is one solid area of rain, and that is targeting the region right at the tail end of the morning rush hour through mid-morning. In fact, as we wake up and head out the door, 7 o'clock in the morning, rain starting to fall Philadelphia down to Atlantic City and Reading. Could still be dry north and east of the city at 7 o'clock, but a steady soaking rain. Delaware, far south Jersey, Chester County, Delaware County during that morning rush hour. And in fact, as you go through the day of that morning round of rain, about a quarter to a half an inch, cloudy in the afternoon, but drier with temps stuck in the 50s. We'll talk about a summer-like 7-day forecast coming your way, Brian, in just a little bit.
Okay, about time. Adam, thank you.
Right.
Well, Pennsylvania's Attorney General announced today that he'll appeal a court ruling that dismissed charges in the 2017 hazing death of a Penn State student. A judge dismissed involuntary manslaughter for some Penn State fraternity members in the death of 19-year-old Timothy Piazza back in March. Now, he died while pledging the Beta Theta Pi fraternity last year. Authorities said Piazza tumbled down a flight of stairs after being given at least 18 drinks in a 90-minute span.
For the second time this week, Philadelphia police had to chase after a coyote. The animal was first spotted in Bridesburg, then in Penn's Landing, then in Spring Garden, before turning up in this parking lot in South Philadelphia. With backup officers from the Pennsylvania Game Commission arriving on the scene, the coyote's city adventure quickly came to an end. We're told that the coyote was put down. It's unclear if this was the same coyote captured a few days ago in Mayfair. Philadelphia's Roman Catholic Seminary honored two of the city's most charitable Catholics tonight. St. Charles Borromeo Seminary presented its first annual Borromeo Award to Independence Blue Cross CEO Dan Hilferty and his wife Joan. The award recognizes the good work of great people. And look at here. The MC tonight, my co-anchor Brian Taff in the building as well to celebrate this great occasion. The event doubled as a fundraiser, which raised nearly $250,000 for the seminary. I can only imagine it was a great time in the room tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of impressive people there, and we're so proud to honor those extraordinary couple.
Well worth it.
Still ahead here on Action News tonight, breaking right now, an historic meeting between North and South Korea. We've got the details.
And health experts have released startling new information about children and autism.
Plus, a major development tonight in the case of the former police officer under arrest for dozens of murders and rapes. And meteorologist Adam Joseph standing by with that full AccuWeather forecast. I think he said summer-like. Action News at 10. We'll be right back. We've got some significant breaking news here tonight of international interest. Kim Jong-un has now become the first North Korean leader to set foot in South Korea since the end of the Korean War back in 1953. South Korean President Moon Jae-in met Kim at the border before talks began. Both men are on their way to the summit venue in a demilitarized zone. The historic meeting will focus on the North's recent indications that it could be willing to give up its nuclear arsenal. President Trump is set to meet Kim Jong-un later this summer. No sitting American president has ever met with the North Korean leader.
Well, we are learning more about Joseph James D'Angelo, the 72-year-old former cop, now thought to be the elusive Golden State Killer killer. Prosecutors now say they use online sites to help them identify their suspect. DNA collected at one of the crime scenes was matched to an online genetic profile. D'Angelo is believed to be responsible for at least 12 killings and 50 rapes in the 70s and 80s.
Meteorologist Adam Joseph joining us now with the AccuWeather forecast as we sail towards the weekend.
We are. Speaking of sailing, water, sail. We'll have a lot of water tomorrow, at least just in the morning, but we'll get it out of the way before the weekend.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
It's not sailing on rain.
I know, just water. Anyway, trying to do a transition. Go to the Weather Center, please. Sky 6 Live, City Hall. We got dry roadways right now and the country flags. They're not moving a whole lot. It was a breezy day, but that wind has relaxed quite a bit out there. And temps right now aren't that bad. They're holding in the 50s for most areas. But as we head towards the weekend, I always want to look forward to the weekend. It's only a couple days away. Saturday, sunny, very nice. There's going to be a front coming in late in the day with some cloud cover. There could be an evening shower, but most of your daylight hours on Saturday will be dry and warm. Behind that front, it is really chilly for this time of year. Sunday, a high of just 57 degrees. Clouds will be fighting that sunshine. It will be breezy, but at least it's going to be also on the dry side. We take a look at those temps right now. 58 in Allentown, Reading 55, 51 in Millville, 50s at the shore. A couple spots still in the 60s from Wilmington, Philadelphia to Trenton, and kind of anywhere right along I-95. Satellite radar, clouds are starting to march in from the south. There's that low pressure that will quickly work through here early tomorrow morning. So if you're looking at having some outdoor activities, afternoon faring much better than the morning. The morning rush, rain arriving from the south with a slower commute. Suburbs 50 degrees, the city at 54 degrees. Those temps aren't going to fall all that much during the overnight hours. Here's Future Tracker 6 a.m. Get on the road early. You'll be dry. Philadelphia, Allentown, Trenton. Rain, as you can see, coming in from the south. Heavy at times through 8 o'clock in the morning. Temperatures not moving all that much, and the low in the mid-50s. And then that continues to work to the north and east at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then by the afternoon, 5 o'clock, just a couple of lingering showers. That is about it, with temperatures cool in the 50s. We'll have that 7-day forecast, which looks like summer, coming your way right after this break.
In Health Tech tonight at 10, there is concerning news about the number of kids diagnosed with autism. The CDC has released new data suggesting that there are more kids with autism than we first thought. Previous numbers estimated that 1 in 68 children were affected by this disorder. Today's new numbers suggest 1 in 59 children are impacted. Autism is a disorder that affects a child's behavior, communication, and ability to socialize. It remains unclear whether more people have autism or it's just been unrecognized or called by other names.
Deuces Rogers along now with the first check of sports. Just when you think Sixers fever has reached fever pitch, more people get on the bandwagon.
Yes, and now they have to wait while they rest. But it's a good problem to have right now. The Sixers still don't know who's next. It will either be the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks. The team returned to the practice court this afternoon. As of now, they are implementing a game plan for both Milwaukee and Boston. The Sixers say they are taking the waiting game in stride.
I don't think it's tough. We just prepare for both teams. They play tonight, so if Boston wins, that's what we're playing. So we're going to be ready for whoever we play them in the regular season. So we kind of got a lot of scouting reports. So, and the coaches, I'm sure they're going to do a good job of preparing us.
The Cleveland Browns had the first pick in tonight's NFL draft. They took Oklahoma QB Baker Mayfield. Penn State running back Saquon Barkley goes second to the Giants. We have yet to get to the Eagles' 32nd overall selection. Phils and D-backs this afternoon. First inning, Ben Lively serves it up to Gerard Dyson. 2-0 Diamondbacks. Now 3-zip in the third. Nick Ahmed goes deep. Lively doesn't make it out of the third inning. He gives up 7 runs. Drew Hutchinson comes in. David Peralta tags him. The Phillies lose 8-2. They dropped 2 of the 3 games to Arizona. Atlanta will be in town starting tomorrow.
Okay, Deuces, thanks. More action news at 10 coming up right after this.
So ahead tonight on Action News at 10, a proposal that's going viral.
And in Wisconsin, thousands of people have been evacuated from their homes after this huge fire at an oil refinery.
And coming up next, we're taking a look back at the Bill Cosby case and all the events that led up to today's conviction.
News at 10:30 on VHL 17 continues with Deuces Rogers, meteorologist Evan Joseph, Shari Williams, and Brian Taff.
He went from America's favorite dad to possibly spending the rest of his life in prison. Tonight, Bill Cosby is a convicted sex offender out on bail as he waits to find out his sentencing date. The 80-year-old comedian was found guilty of aggravated indecent assault.
Well, now he could face up to 30 years in prison when he's sentenced. The jury found Cosby guilty of drugging and sexually assaulting former Temple University employee Andrea Constand at his Elkins Park mansion in 2004. When the verdict was read today, Cosby hung his head. He later lashed out and cursed at DA Kevin Steele when he suggested that Cosby head immediately to prison. Cosby was allowed to return to his Montgomery County home, where he's under house arrest tonight until his sentencing. Cosby's lawyer says this is not the end.
We don't think Mr. Cosby's guilty of anything, and the fight is not over.
Now, during the retrial, the jury was allowed to hear from 5 additional Cosby accusers. His defense team says all of the women made up their stories for money or fame. Some of those accusers say they finally feel like the system has delivered justice.
We are vindicated. We are validated.
This jury has shown that what the Me Too movement has saying is that women are worthy of being believed.
So far, no sentencing date has yet been set.
As we stated, the guilty verdict came down this afternoon, but we want to take you back to the first trial and all that has led up to today's big verdict. The walk-up to the Montgomery County Courthouse in Norristown is one that TV legend Bill Cosby has made countless times in recent years. Cosby's accusers in this court case is former Temple University employee Andrea Constand. She claims that Cosby drugged and sexually assaulted her at his Elkins Park home in January of 2004. Although dozens of women have come forward with similar stories, Constand is the only one whose alleged assault falls within the statute of limitations. During Cosby's first trial, his legal team fought to defend his squeaky clean image as America's dad, while prosecutors depicted Cosby as a serial sexual predator. Because of the media frenzy surrounding the trial, the first jury was selected from the Pittsburgh area. At that time, only one other accuser, Kelly Johnson, was allowed to testify for prosecutors as they tried to establish that Cosby had a pattern of assault. Johnson testified that she was drugged and assaulted by Cosby in 1996. As for Constand, the defense tried to poke holes in her testimony, arguing the relationship between her and Cosby was consensual. Ultimately, that trial ended in a hung jury after 5 days of deliberations.
Everyone, I want Mr. Cosby, get the cameras close.
Fast forward to April 9th. A new jury is seated, this time chosen locally. Since Cosby's last trial, the Me Too movement spread across the nation, stripping a number of high-profile figures of their careers and reputations. And this time around, a ruling in another sexual assault trial enabled prosecutors to fortify their efforts to show what they called a pattern of misconduct by Cosby. Prosecutors were allowed to call 5 other women who also accused Cosby of portraying himself as a mentor, only to target them and sexually assault them. Cosby himself has a new team of lawyers led by Tom Mesereau, who is famous for successfully defending Michael Jackson in his 2005 child molestation case. Over 2 weeks of testimony, jurors also heard something that the first jury did not, that Constand was awarded $3.4 million from Cosby in a 2006 civil settlement. But the defense was also able to present a new element, testimony from Marguerite Jackson, also a former Temple employee. Jackson claims Constand once told her that she could make up a story about being assaulted by a celebrity to get a huge payout. Cosby did not take the stand in either trial and maintains his innocence, saying his relationship with Constand was consensual. Now, Bill Cosby's legal team says that they will fight today's conviction.
Well, as we told you at 10 o'clock tonight, Temple University is considering whether to revoke Bill Cosby's honorary degree. We have now learned that a number of other universities have already taken that step following today's conviction. Carnegie Mellon released a statement tonight saying it will not tolerate sexual violence. Notre Dame and Johns Hopkins also announced they too are rescinding his honorary degrees. Our coverage of the Cosby verdict continues at 6abc.com/Cosby trial. There you'll find videos with much more from all of today's quick-moving developments.
Time now to turn back to that forecast as we eye the weekend, but we're in for a wet morning commute.
Yeah. So be sure to grab those umbrellas, leave a little bit of extra time when you head out tomorrow morning. Meteorologist Adam Joseph joining us now with the AccuWeather Word tonight.
And don't forget to pack the patience tomorrow morning as well. Commute and rain don't go together very well. It's like oil and vinegar. As we go over to the Weather Center, we take a look at Sky 6 Live overlooking the Talon Energy Stadium there, the home of the Philadelphia Union, which has a game this Saturday. Saturday warmer of the 2 weekend days and a bit brighter as well, especially in the morning and early afternoon. Right now, upper 50s for the Lehigh Valley, still in the 60s for Trenton and Wilmington as well as Philadelphia. A bit cooler in Millville, 51, 57 in Beach Haven, and these numbers aren't going to drop a whole lot going into the overnight hours. And in fact, throughout the day tomorrow, these numbers kind of stay steady for the most part. In the morning, that rain arrives 7 o'clock or so, Philadelphia, a little earlier to the south, a little later to the north. The heaviest rain is in the mid to late morning hours. And then in the afternoon, we start to dry it out a little bit with respect to the rain falling, which is a good thing. I've gotten a lot of questions about proms tomorrow night and all the ladies worried about their hair and the dress in the rain. Most of the rain should shut off well before any pictures outside around that 5 o'clock hour. Temperatures holding near the upper 50s and 60 degrees after the rain. Satellite and radar, you can see it's just a quick little like bowling ball type feature that is riding right up the eastern seaboard here. So once that rain comes in, it's kind of a quick burst for an hour or two, and then it kind of falls apart. So the Penn Relays also a place to be tomorrow. A little bit wet in the morning if you're expected to be there. Bring the rain gear. 55 at 8 o'clock in the morning. 11 o'clock, 57 degrees with still that rain around. But there you can see in the afternoon, mainly just cloudy and a bit on the coolish side. So sweatshirts probably needed underneath that rain gear. Friday morning, here's a snapshot, 7 a.m. There is where you can see the rain falling. The brighter the color, the darker, the heavier the rainfall. That continues to spread to the north and to the east at 9 o'clock in the morning. Already trying to dry out west of the city at 9 a.m. There you can see at 11 o'clock still lingering in New Jersey, northeastern parts of Pennsylvania, Wilmington, Dover, 50s, mid-50s for highs at that point, and also that rain beginning to cease. And as we get into Friday afternoon, there's that 5 p.m. Lots of clouds, mid to upper 50s to near 60. Could be a sprinkle around, but that steady heavy rain is long gone. And there's Saturday, 9 a.m., clouds breaking apart. Cool start, mid-50s, but by the afternoon, 60s to near 70 degrees. Philadelphia to the south. There's going to be a front coming in from the west here Saturday late in the day, so we'll have to watch for the possibility of a quick shower early Saturday evening. And then on Sunday, behind that front, it falls big time. 57 for high, much cooler. The winds kick up 12 to 20 miles an hour, so a very chilly second half of the weekend. The exclusive AccuWeather 7-day forecast, 60 tomorrow. That morning rain, cooler with just a lot of clouds in the afternoon. Sun to a late shower on Saturday. And again, those showers don't come in until almost near sunset or even after. So again, most of the day pretty nice. Breezy, cool Sunday. 57, maybe light a fire in the house? I don't know. I may do that at 57. It's going to be chilly. 68 on Monday, and then we go towards 80 Tuesday and mid-80s on Thursday. Summer-like sizzle on the way.
Yeah. You're getting too soft to have a fire on the weekend.
Just we wait. After that Saturday, Sunday, you're going to say, text me. Maybe I should come over and join you.
That's true. Okay. All right. I can do that.
Same.
Thanks, Adam.
All right.
Well, there was a big turnout for a 5K named for a fallen Newcastle County police officer. Hundreds of fellow officers and supporters came out for the 6th Lieutenant Zerba Memorial Run. The race began and ended at the Salesianum School in Wilmington. The event raises money for a scholarship fund that's named for Lieutenant Joe Zerba. He was killed while struggling with a suspect in 2011. Well, members of the Action News team are going for strikes tonight. Rick Williams, Allie Gorman and Chris Sowers participated in a celebrity bowling tournament at South Bowl in South Philadelphia. The proceeds will fund programs offered by Philadelphia Futures. That nonprofit organization supports students who represent the first in their families to go to college, and looks like maybe they hit some pins tonight.
Oh, we should have seen if he got a strike. All right.
Yeah, I went in the gutter.
Still ahead here on Action News tonight. The First Lady is celebrating a birthday. We'll tell you what the president gave her today.
Plus, that's not the right video, but here's this. Residents of a boarding home in Quakertown are now talking about having to flee when a deadly fire broke out.
And up next, the latest on an oil refinery fire in Wisconsin that's forced thousands of people out of their homes tonight. A fire at an oil refinery in Wisconsin has finally stopped burning tonight, but thousands of people are still being kept away from their homes for at least one more hour. 11 people were injured in this morning's blast at the Husky Energy oil refinery in Superior. A contractor inside the plant said it sounded like a sonic boom. At the time, workers were trying to shut down the plant for repairs. Crews were able to extinguish the fire, but then it reignited. They finally got it out about 3 hours ago, and the evacuation order expires in just less than 1 hour from now.
A fire that broke out inside a Quakertown hotel has claimed the life of a woman in her 80s. Well, there were dozens of people living at the Bush House Hotel when flames broke out this morning. Action News' Gray Hall spoke to residents who had to find somewhere else to stay tonight.
Residents of the Bush House Hotel, a boarding home in Quakertown along the 200 block of West Broad Street, were startled by an early morning fire. Many were awoken by smoke and scrambled to safety.
I went downstairs first to see what was going on, and I noticed that nobody was out yet. Everybody was still banging on windows, so I ran upstairs to the 3rd floor to get my friend, and then that's when the police was upstairs on the 3rd floor, and we came back downstairs. When I came back down to the 2nd floor, the whole thing was smoky.
I couldn't even see or breathe. The smoke was so bad, so I hightailed it out the front door, left the dog there, and my roommate has cats. So I just went, and all the fire trucks were here.
The fire started at about 8:30 a.m. on the 1st floor in a back room. Investigators say that fire took place in an elderly victim's apartment and likely was electrical. Unfortunately, the woman, said to be in her 80s, did not make it out alive.
We went in through the front door. We found her face down. She was rescued, pulled out, turned over to EMS, and then that's where she was declared deceased a little bit later.
Action News has learned this building has about 160 rooms and is home to about 100 people. As fire investigators work to figure out what caused this incident, dozens of people are displaced and are now being assisted by the Red Cross.
It hurts because people are displaced, and it's just a lot of good people, like I said. And I just found out that the one lady passed.
Gray Hall for Action News at 10 on PHL 17.
Still ahead here, the NFL draft kicked off tonight. We'll tell you what the Eagles did.
And a promposal is going viral. See the touching way a young lady asked her very special friend to the big dance.
And, of course, don't forget to wake up with the Action News Morning Team. You get the top headlines, weather, and traffic beginning at 4:30 a.m. only on 6 ABC.
A Kentucky toddler who wandered away from his home is back with his family, and his dog's microchip played a big role. The 3-year-old was found walking the streets early this morning with his dog. A woman spotted the two and then called police. Investigators began walking door to door, trying to figure out where the boy lived, and then they realized, well, the dog had a microchip. It turns out the boy's dad was asleep, and the toddler just learned how to open doors. Police say they're not going to file any charges at this time.
Deuces Rogers back with us now. The Sixers don't yet know who they'll play or when, but they're getting ready nonetheless.
Yes, they are getting ready for the second round of the NBA playoffs. The Sixers woke up this morning the same way they woke up yesterday, in the dark. They have been sitting and waiting to learn their second round opponent. The team was back on the practice court this afternoon. They have been preparing for both Boston and Milwaukee. Coach Brett Brown knows regardless of the opponent, round 2 will be a lot different than round 1.
It only gets harder. The longer you play, the more difficult it is. When you look at the athletes that both Boston and Milwaukee have, you know, they're able to do it, I think, even with greater length and with a different sort of athlete. And, you know, we expect all that and some physicality in the next series, no matter who we play.
So the Sixers keeping an eye on the Celtics-Bucks Game 6. Boston closes it out with the victory. If they can win, the Greek Freak has other ideas. A steal and dunk, 31 for him. This game has just gone final. The Bucks wins 97-86 to force a Game 7 on Saturday in Boston. The Phillies were trying to win the rubber game of their series with Arizona. Only problem today, starter Ben Lively could not get anything going. Lively serves it up to Gerard Dyson in the first inning, 2-0 Diamondbacks. Now 3-zip in the third. Nick Ahmed goes deep. Lively doesn't make it out of the third. He gives up 7 runs. Drew Hutchinson comes in, and he's not much better. David Peralta tags him. The Phillies lose 8-2. They drop 2 of the 3 games to Arizona.
A 3-game series is no indication that one team is better than the other. That's for sure. We can definitely play with those guys. We can play with anybody in this league. I feel very confident in our team right now.
The NFL draft is underway. The Eagles have yet to pick. They hold the 32nd overall selection. The Browns are trying their luck with the quarterback once again. They take Oklahoma QB Baker Mayfield, number 1. Saquon Barkley goes 2nd overall to the Giants. The Penn State running back racked up 45 total touchdowns in his past 2 seasons. The Giants have holes along the offensive line, but they also have playmakers. Barkley simply adds to that.
Be able to put myself in the offense and hope, God willing, have the success I had in college and the man that I had in college from the backfield. It's like kind of pick your poison, and hopefully I can have that success at an early age.
The Eagles will have to face him twice a year for probably a very long time.
Yep.
He's a good one.
Formidable opponent. Deuces, thanks. Meanwhile, the Eagles fans gathered at Lincoln Financial Field for the annual draft party there. They got to meet defensive end Stephen Means and former player Jason Avant. The Lombardi Trophy was also on the field. A lot of folks were happy to see that, snapping pictures and reliving the team's win over the Patriots in Super Bowl 52.
First Lady Melania Trump is wrapping up her 48th birthday. In a morning interview, the president wished his wife a happy birthday and admitted he's been too busy to buy her a gift, but he did give her flowers and a card. The First Lady's birthday comes just 3 days after the Trumps' first official state dinner. The president and First Lady welcomed French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife, Bridget.
Prince Harry has asked his big brother to be his best man. Kensington Palace said tonight that Prince William is honored to have been asked and is very much looking forward to supporting his brother. Harry served as William's best man when he got married to Kate Middleton in 2011. Harry will marry Meghan Markle at St. George's Chapel in Windsor on May 19th. Crikey. Steve Irwin was honored with a posthumous star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He was an animal activist and, of course, the exuberant host of the television show Crocodile Hunter. Irwin died in 2006 after he was stung by a stingray while diving off Australia's north coast. Irwin's wife, his daughter Bindi, and their son Robert accepted the star on his behalf. Well, in case you didn't know, today is National Pretzel Day. And what better way to celebrate than with a, well, giant dancing pretzel. The action came out in front of Philadelphia City Hall today as the mascot of Super Pretzel handed out freebies and greeted fans. Got a lot of fans. Former Pennsylvania Governor and, of course, Philadelphia Mayor Ed Rendell declared April 26th National Pretzel Day back in 2003.
Well, this is a sweet proposal, and it's out of North Carolina, and it's going viral. Ben Robinson walked into the school auditorium Monday. The song "You've Got a Friend in Me" was playing, and everyone was handing him flowers.
Well, when he made it to the stage, his longtime friend Rachel Newbury asked him to prom, and of course he said yes.
I've been saying since elementary school that I wanted to take Ben to my senior prom. I love you. We're going to dance all night. It's going to be the best prom ever.
I love it. The big dance is May 19th, and two others, or rather the two, already have their outfits picked out. What an awesome young girl and a special young man.
And they have plans already. She says they will dance all night
That's
long.
right. Best prom ever.
I literally smiled, I think, from the beginning of that to the end of that story.
Right.
And that's the way it should be.
Yes, but you're going to make us not smile on the morning commute.
So it takes more muscles to frown than to smile.
That's going to smile.
So I'll just keep this up.
Okay, so keep it up because the weekend looks good. Take a look. Storm Tracker 6 live 3D. We've got rain coming in from the south here. You can see it across the Carolinas, the Virginias. This is low pressure, and that heavy round of rain, you can see the brighter colors between Roanoke and Raleigh, will be here during the mid-morning hours, 7 a.m. Still some broken showers in and around most of the Delaware Valley, but sparse South Jersey, Delaware, it's a wet morning rush hour. You'll fare drier the farther north you are, and that will continue to lift through here during the mid-morning hours, so that morning rush hour. Rain arriving from the south, a slower commute is expected. Suburbs 50 degrees, in the city 54 degrees. So pack the patience early tomorrow morning.
Okay.
All right, we'll do it.
Thanks,
Adam, thanks. And thank you for joining us tonight for Action News at 10. Modern Families next, followed by 2.5 Minutes.
Now for Shari Williams, Adam Joseph, Deuces Rogers, the entire Action News team, I'm Brian Taff. Have a great night. Good day tomorrow. See you back here at 10 o'clock tomorrow night.